So how should India deal with this latest challenge in a way being thrown by Canada? I'm joined by Ambassador KC Singh, former Secretary MEA. Joining me also from Canada is Daniel Boardman, joining me from Toronto. KC Singh, to you first. How do you see this playing out? Do you believe that Canada has crossed a certain red line in the way in which they've been seen to be sheltering those accused of being Khalistani terrorists?
Look, Rajdeep, we have to relate what happens in Punjab to what happens in Canada. There's always been a very small element amongst the Sikh diaspora which has carried this fiction in their head of a Khalistan. But Khalistan, if it has to be formed in Punjab. And here, essentially, from 2015, when the desecration took place, otherwise, after Blue Star, this had all settled down. Nobody has thought of it. Anandpur Sahib resolution was forgotten. And people who created the resolution were allies of the BJP, the Akali Dal. But 2015 desecration, mishandled by the Akalis, is the basis of it. And even today, Gurmeet Ram Rahim, look at the way he's handled in Haryana. He's convicted a rapist, a murderer. He gets twice a year, he gets remand out of the jail. And he's treated like a VIP by the Haryana government. So there is this simmering feeling which then starts in Punjab. It is no longer river waters, no longer Chandigarh, no longer land, Punjabi-speaking areas. It's essentially a feeling that the Sikhs are being persecuted because, its religion is not, because the Akali Dal has not been able to handle it. Traditionally, they handled it. And then came the farmers' agitation. And who dubbed them Khalistanis? It's the union government's representatives who calling them Khalistanis at the border. And by the end of it, there was no Khalistan. The farmers of Haryana, Punjab, UP, they worked together. And finally came Amritpal last year. Who allowed Amritpal to operate? He stirred the cauldron in Punjab. So if we don't pay attention to what's happening in Punjab, you keep blaming things they are not going to be able to do anything. Let them hold a referendum there. Let them create a Khalistan in Vancouver, as far as we are concerned. But I agree with...
Yeah, this is Justin Trudeau's MO. There have been reports. Listen, I personally know of staffers, so not elected officials, but I know people who have told me staffers of high-ranking liberal officials are open Air India conspiracy theorists. They think the Indian government blew up the plane. So I know those people exist within the Liberal Party. They're in a coalition with the NDP. We all know Jagmeet Singh's views on Khalistan. He's not allowed in your country. So you could say, yeah, vote bank politics. They want the Khalistani vote, or the money running through the Khalistanis and this and that. And to an extent, that might be true. I think you're also underestimating the sort of ideological element to Justin Trudeau that we live with here. Justin Trudeau might not be the smartest man in the world, but he does believe what he thinks. He does, he does do what what his ideology purports, and it is this sort of intersectional leftism. I think the global term we would all understand would be woke, and for whatever reason, under wokeness or intersectionality, India or Hindu loses to Khalistani or Muslim Brotherhood. So there is this anti-Indian element within the academia, within our experts, in the same way the anti-Israel stuff manifests here in the West too. So I do think, his inner circle is sort of these we'll say left-wing academic intersectional types who have these sort of warped views of India and all these India conspiracies. So I think this does sort of influence his decision-making, because I don't believe for a second this is about Canadian national security, because we've seen evidence recently of Chinese foreign diplomats in Canada. It's a huge scandal where there's a Chinese diplomat threatening the family of a sitting Canadian official. And the evidence comes out. We have the evidence. And it took the Liberals over a week. And we had to scream at them through Twitter and YouTube and everything to get them to kick this diplomat out. And they finally did it. And this was with public evidence. The entire country had to get behind Trudeau and force him to kick him out. And now with no public evidence, we're going to start a fight with one of our geopolitical allies, the biggest democracy in the world. This is insanity.
Okay, those are very strong words. This is insanity, what Justin Trudeau is doing, playing to his gallery. It's also playing with fire, many would say. We had limited time on that. We'll, of course, come to these discussions, hopefully with Daniel and KC on another day. But I appreciate both of you giving us your immediate comments on what's happened there in Canada.